Yasodhananda Rajajanarjana Yasodhananda Rajajanarjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janma Girivardhari Yasodhanandan Rajajanarjana Yasodhanandan Rajajanarjana Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jam Pad Paramahamsa Prabhupada Sadasi Simat His Divine Grace Elase Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jam Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Prabhupada Sadasi Simat Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Sri Guru Parampara Ki Jai Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Gauranga. Go Premananda Haribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stavidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalang Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajiva Savetam Savadutam Prijana Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakambidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudadevi Pranamami Hari Vanchakalpantarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhavacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as it is, translation and commentary, Srila Prabhupada. Today's verse is number 30. 50? Huh? Okay, 60 will do. Chapter entitled The Perfection of Renunciation. So, that's a good title. Now, 50, did you say? Okay, please repeat. Siddhim Ti Nibome Samase Naiva Kuntaya Nishta Janayasya Siddhim Prapto Yatha Brahma Tatapnoti Nibodhame Samase Naiva Kuntaya Nishta Janasya Yat Para Yapara Siddhim Prapto Yatha Brahma Tata Noti Nibodhame Samase Naiva Kuntaya Nistajansya Ya Para. Okay. Ya, ya Para. Sadam Prapto Yatha Brahma Tatapnoti Nibodhame Samase Naiva Kunteya Nishtagyanasya Ya Para. Siddhim Prapto Yatha Brahma Tatapnoti Nibodhame Samaneva Kunteya Nistajanasya Ya Para. Okay, word for word, please repeat. Siddhim, perfection. Praptaha, achieving. Yatha, as. Brahma, the supreme. Tatha, so. Apnoti, one achieves. Nibodha, try to understand. Me, from me. Samasena, summarily. Eva, certainly. Kunteya, O son of Kunti. Nishtha, the stage. Janasya, of knowledge. Ya, which. Para, transcendental. Thank you. Now, the verse, translation, Srila Prabhupada. O son of Kunti. It's all right. It's good to be eager. O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection. Learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman. The highest way I shall now summarize. One attains the supreme stage of Brahman simply by renouncing the result of his work for the satisfaction. Yes. Learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection. What previous verse? One who is self-controlled and unattached and who disregards all material enjoyment can obtain, by practice of renunciation, the highest stage of freedom from reaction. Yes, so that is referring, this one in the first, who has achieved this perfection. So the perfection is to be self-controlled, unattached, and disregarding all material enjoyments. This is renunciation. And then one will become free from the reactions of material life, the laws of karma. So this is very pertinent because Arjuna, one of his big arguments at the beginning of the Gita was, oh, Govinda, what good are these things? And not only that, I will be killing superiors like Durya, Dhritarashtra, Drishtadyumna and his teacher and so on and so forth. And that will give me a severe reaction. I'll be in the future. So that's very intelligent. One should calculate the result of one's activities because that is civilization. The animals, they cannot understand the laws of karma, but human beings should be a little fearful. Karma is operative, as they say in America. What goes around comes around. What goes up must come down. What you sow, so you will reap. There's another one too, isn't there? Sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. Yes. So do not understand that we live in an action-reaction universe and think I'm free to do anything is a very dangerous mentality, particularly in Kali Yuga, when everything and the senses are so undisciplined and society is largely corrupted by violence and perverted sensuality. So that if you become swept up in that Kali Yuga maelstrom, then you'll be very lucky to get a human birth in your next life. You'll be thrown down. So Lord of Karma is there. So if you can get that perfection of being unattached to material activities by disciplining yourself, unattached, disregarding material enjoyments. So of course that's very hard to, because we are pleasure-seeking beings. So how do you become unattached? So that is leading into this later section. So now learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection of detachment from the material energy and the reactions can attain to the supreme perfectional stage. So that's very interesting, isn't it? It's one thing to be self-controlled sage and unattached to gross material enjoyment, but that stage, though it is called perfectional, is not the supreme stage, which is here called Brahman. So that refers generically to the transcendental world, right? Krishna is adhokshaja. He is transcendental to the material world. Goloka Vrindavan, Haridam, they're transcendental. So to enter there, that is the supreme perfection. Freedom from reaction eternally in the spiritual world. The stage of highest knowledge. So, yes, Janma Karma Tame Divyam Evam Yobati Tatvata, knowledge, scientific knowledge, analytical knowledge. If you know Krishna, then Janma, Purna Janma Nividya, you will never see birth and death. So this is very interesting because that is how we become liberated, not just by renunciation and self-control in the material world, but rather by realizing the Supreme. And that will be what is taught next, right? Bhakti Mam Abhijanati. So by acting in the way, I shall now summarize. So, okay, what went before, we know it was action in passion, ignorance, knowledge in passion and ignorance and goodness, so many departments and duty in passion and ignorance. Now I will summarize how you can get the perfectional stage beyond just becoming free of bad reaction in the material world. Yes. So yes, that's you could think of it as two sides of a coin. It's one, the lower side of the coin is to become free of material reaction, but that's not going to satisfy you, is it? Just becoming, there's a sense of impersonalism there. I'm free of material reaction, I'm in some kind of state, but we want activity, we want love, we want association. So in the spiritual world, that is there. And with that, the root of achieving that is to realize Krishna, right? Aham sarvasya Prabhu. Everything comes from me. I'm the source of everything. If you realize that I am the supreme source of everything, itima bhajantima, then naturally you will become devoted. So realizing Krishna will make you a devotee, and then you can enter the spiritual world, because the spiritual world is a place of pure devotion. Savepam samparo dharmo yuto bhaktir adhoksija. That the highest dharma is to serve adhoksija with bhakti. And that should be a hoitaki, unbroken, chobis ganta, 24 hours, and a hoitaki, without material motivation. I'm just rendering service and I'm not expecting some result. I'm not giving an apple and hoping I'll get an orchard. I'm just giving an apple for the satisfaction of Krishna. That is the spiritual world. We've discussed this a lot. Selfless devotion. Don't consider what I will get. So the material world, we're always considering, even if we don't know the law of karma, we're working to get some fruit. Working in a factory, I want the salary, I want this, I want to get married, I want to have children, I want this. So we're doing things to get a result. So this is a very good meditation. The spiritual world, people are acting in devotion, but they don't have that calculation. They don't think what I will get. That's a very wonderful topic of contemplation, right? I just want to serve out of love, right? So it's very purifying just to think of such a thing, right? In this material world, everyone's maneuvering, right? For their own self. So I'll summarize. So this is too much of a teaser. We have to read on, right? Let us read the whole summary. Let's see the next verse. Whoop, confirmed. So it's actually 3 verses, right? Yes. Being purified by his intelligence. I think this is off. Oh, yes, come back. By intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, right? That's the yogic principle. The yogi wants to control the mind. And once the mind is controlled, the senses are controlled. Giving up objects of sense gratification, again, renunciation. That means giving up objects in the material world for meditation upon the Supreme. Being freed from attachment and hatred. This is again a revival of renunciation, the dualities of this material world. Oh, I like this, I don't like that. One who lives in a secluded place. So if you remember the items of knowledge in the 13th chapter, two of them at the beginning was detachment from the general mass of people and then retiring to a quiet place for self-realization. So, of course, we recommended to retire to an ashram and sadhu sangha, particularly in Kali Yuga at this time. But it means to be detached from the general mass of people, if one can attain that. Who eats little. So that means, yes, because the, there's no chance of being a yogi if you eat too much or sleep too much, or eat too little or sleep too little. And generally, higher class of yoga means to give up sex life. So eating a little is a great aid to reducing sex desire in the body. One who controls his body, you see, his mind and power of speech. Yes. So we're going from the gross body to the mind and the speech. So those are the 3 actions. Actions of the body, actions of the mind, and actions of the speech. This is what we can use for activity. One who is always in trance, right? So you're in a secluded place, you're renouncing sense objects, and now what are you doing? You're in trance. Why? Because you're meditating on the selfless devotion of the residents of Vrindavan. That is Raganuga Bhakti, and right? And detached from the material world, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things. It's not like looking to collect a lot, free from false proprietorship, not considering that everything is mine, that I control. No, everything belongs to Krishna, aham mameti, and peaceful, dhira. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. Now the next sloka, excuse me, one who is thus transcendently situated, right, it's controlling the body. So it's not specifically mentioned what he's meditating upon. Situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. So it's implicit there that the yogi is meditating on transcendence, adhokshaja. He's not meditating, he's neutral to the material world, and his consciousness is flowing to the Supreme. That is the perfection of yoga. Becomes fully joyful. Yes, there's also another shloka there in the Gita where Krishna, the yogi, by identifying with Brahman, achieves the highest happiness. So that is a very important point, that instead of identifying I'm just a spirit soul, or I'm the body or the mind, the yogi identifies I am Brahman. But the Mayavadis get it wrong. They think I'm Brahman, but we think we're part of Brahman. Mama angsa jiva loke. I'm part of Krishna. Now that is identification with the Supreme. We are non-different from Krishna, but we're part of Krishna. So mama angsa jiva loke. So that's something. Instead of thinking I'm man, woman, Indian, American, French, Australian, kangaroo, whatever, we should think I'm Brahman. I'm part of the Supreme. Huh? That will elevate our consciousness in that way. I'm part of Krishna. I'm not part of this world. Then renunciation is easy to attain. And we become fully joyful. Why? Because that spiritual world is full of joy and happiness. They're exchanging rasa, ecstasy in the spiritual world. So when we meditate on that, even in my neophyte condition, we get joyful. We get a touch of that. We link. He never laments or desires to have anything material. If you lose something, you lament. If you want desire, you want something. So the yogi he was desiring Lolam, the transcendental world. He's equal. He doesn't lament when he loses something. Uh, and he doesn't desire because he's desiring transcendentally. And then equally disposed to every living entity. Yes. Now that's very important because that can be expanded to understand Krishna in different parts. He says you should always offer respect to all living entities because in that way you will be offering respect to me because I am the living entity. He's my Vibhinamsa. He's part of me and I am there as Paramatma. So we offer respects to living entities. We're respecting the Supreme Lord and the Supreme Lord as his expansion as part and parcel of the Vibhinamsa, the individual soul. So that's there. Later on, Mam Namaskuru, right? Manmana Jaji Mam Namaskuru. So that's very important. The neophyte will just think, hey, I'm getting some buzz. But the Madhyamadikari will think, everyone is a living entity, part and parcel of Krishna, so I give respect. And that is a wonderful state of consciousness, right? So then it equally in that he attains pure devotional service to me, Shuddha Bhakta, right? So this is good. Now let's continue with the summary. Any question on that so far? Clear? Then, and now a famous verse, Krishna sums it all up. Bhakti mama bijanati avanyas tasmitatbata. One can understand me as I am, the Supreme Person, only by devotional service. This means Shuddha Bhakti. By devotional service, we can understand Krishna. You can't understand Krishna by Gyan or by Karma. Gyan means by studying and logic and argument and learning Sanskrit and understanding this. The penny won't drop. And if you perform good karma or bad karma, the penny won't drop. Why? Because that won't attract Krishna. Remember we read the 6 characteristics of pure devotional service a few weeks ago. One of them was it's the only way to attract Krishna. Do you remember the genius there? There were 6 characteristics. One was it's the only way, but it has to be pure devotion, which we just talked about. I mean, ahoitaki. You're not doing service thinking, I'm giving an apple, I want an orchard. Huh? I'm giving 1 orange, I want 10 kilos back. It's pure, just selfless. Oh, Krishna, enjoy this apple, enjoy this orange. For your pleasure, just giving to you is enough for me, right? So that is pure bhakti, right? So that is what is attractive to Krishna. So we want to attract Krishna. When we attract Krishna by his grace, we realize Krishna. Simple as that. So we have to practice that selfless devotion, serving Krishna, serving the devotee, serving the spiritual master selflessly. That will attract Krishna, and then we will realize Krishna by his association. Very simple point. Only by and when is one in full and when one is in full consciousness of me by such pure devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God, right? Then you can achieve eternal life. Now, an important point on this, maybe it is in the purport, I don't know, but there is a detail in here. Yes, we can go to the spiritual world, but the details are there given in other bhakti shastris that generally when you're ready to go Goloka for residence, you will first take a birth in the place where Krishna's pastimes are carrying on. You will take birth in it's called the Bhoma Leela, the Leela of Krishna in the material world. There are many universes, so the Leela is going from one to the next. So there you will be born from a Gopika, you will have a family, and that will be your eternal spiritual identity and transcendence. So that is like a staging point. Plus, another point is stated in Shastra, Nectar of Devotion, that we say we want to achieve prem, but there are 8 stages of prem, and the higher stages are not attainable while you have a material body. If you attain those, you leave your material body because the emotions, the spirituality is too powerful for the material body. Those are sneha, transcendental affection, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhava, and mahabhav. And then above that is prem. That means completely ecstatic prem. So those 7 higher stages of prem, like I say, you can't achieve them when you have a material body. It's too powerful. You can't stay in the body. So that is what goes on in the Bhoma Leela. You get a spiritual body there, born from a Gopika, and you go to Sneha, Man, Pranaya, Rag, Anurag, Bhav, Mahabhav. You develop that in your spiritual body. If you remember in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says there that when the gopis heard Krishna playing the flute, some were held, for the Ras Leela, some were held back, and they were in such by their parents or so on and so forth, and they were in such anxiety to go and serve Krishna selflessly that they left their material body and went in their spiritual body. So now this, and then it says in that section, and by leaving that final material body, they overcome the last remnants of their karma. They attained a higher bhava, and they went to the Ras Leela. So also, pure devotion, just to remind, they were going to serve Krishna, not to enjoy Krishna. And Krishna was calling them on the flute play for their pleasure. I want to give them pleasure, and the gopis came to give pleasure. So it's not like in the material world. The Prakriti Sahaji, I think this is a romanticized version of material affairs. But no, the consciousness is completely different. So these things are going on. in the spiritual world. In the Bhoma Lila, the final perfection of prem is there. And to get to those higher levels of prem, one has to have a spiritual body. One can't reach that in the material body. Maybe in special cases, I don't know, but as a general principle, the highest reaches are not available. So the Bhoma Lila is a staging place, if you like, to go to Golok or Haridam. It's very interesting. And like I say, that'll be your eternal identity in the transcendental world. You'll be in a certain family, in a certain area. And also it's described in the, just so people think, it's explained in the Shastra that here, time and space, we're under the control of time and space. We're under time and we're under space. I'm here, I'm not there. But in the transcendental world, there is no material time, but the idea of progression of Leela, it is there, but time, the sense of time in the spiritual world is the servant of Leela. Just like it is explained in the Ras Leela there, that the night was expanded into the length of one day of Brahma, one night of Brahma. So the gopis and Krishna were dancing for millions of earth years in one night of earth. So time becomes the servant of Leela. Is this clear? And at the same time, when Krishna sits on the bank, it's described, he may have so many unlimited cowherd boy friends, but each one can be sitting next to Krishna. So and also when Krishna relates to the cowherd boys or all the residents, every Brijbasi considers Krishna's talking to me, Krishna's looking at me. So the restrictions of material time and place that we experience on the material plane, they're not there. Everything is the servant of Leela. So these are things to contemplate, that time and location and space, they're servant of Leela in the spiritual world. They serve the Leela. So if Krishna wants to go from Vrindavan to Radhakund in one step, he can. If he wants to spend an hour or two, apparently, herding the cows to Radhakund, he can do that also. Do you understand? It's the same place, same distance, same time, but it's the time and place, because that is Yogamaya. In the material world, we're under Mahamaya. We're under a different energy. So we're restricted to time and place in a fixed way. But there, time and place, they are servant of the Leela. So these are things in the Shastra that I've read, so I'm not making them up. Don't be fearful. But we can contemplate the spiritual world in this way, you see. This is what it's talking about, right? We don't contemplate the material energy, attraction, repulsion. From the Shastra, the Leela Shastra, the Nectar of Devotion, oh, that's what the spiritual world is like. So we have to become detached from the Maya Shakti so that we can visualize and contemplate the transcendental Leela. That will give us the highest perfection. Okay? When one is in full consciousness by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Now, an important point is that it's not done by yourself per se. Krishna will reveal himself within your consciousness, step by step. in accordance with your needs of realization. Do you know what I mean? Just like a child realizes the world step by step in this world under the supervision of Mahamaya and mother and father. So in the spiritual world, Yoga Maya, acting for Krishna, leads the devotee step by step to the realization of Krishna Lila. Do you understand that? Just like in this world, we become mature, we realize and understand the world better. So we also realize progressively transcendence under the supervision of Yogamaya. This is the point. It's not that we're having to figure it out alone. That's the meaning of surrender. Surrender to Yogamaya, surrender to spiritual energy, and let her educate us. Right? Sarvakarmani. Yes. So we've understood by bhakti, right? Amabhuta prasanatma. Now, this is also a nice one. Though engaged in all, this is the point that we're just discussing. So Krishna's given me an idea in advance of this sloka. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, that means the devotee in this material world is renounced. My pure devotee, under my protection, right? Yogamaya, under my guidance. Krishna's in the heart of, he's the supreme controller. He's controlling everything. So my devotee, under my protection, and we can understand, under my education, he develops more and more realization of transcendence. Reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. This is very important because Prabhupada, in a letter to Rupanuga, I was just reading it a few days ago, he explains you all have a spiritual form, but it's in a seed form. Just like there's seed, one seed is a banyan tree, another seed is an apple tree. So every spirit soul in the material world is like a seed, but it hasn't grown into its full potential. But that seed is your eternal swarup, your eternal relationship with Krishna. Just in the same way that one seed is an apple tree, a pear tree, a cherry tree, whatever. But it absorbs the material energy to grow. So we are like a seed, and we absorb the chit Shakti to grow our spiritual body in accordance with our, excuse me, our seed relationship. Prabhupada at the beginning, it's in the introduction actually, every living entity, Prabhupada says it very clearly, has a particular relationship with Krishna, perfect and complete. We all have bhakti in our heart. We all have Nityasiddha Krishna Prem. We all have Swarup. We all have a particular nature. But as we progress in the higher realms of bhakti, that grows. Just in the same way that a tree, a seed of a banyan tree, absorbs the material energy to become a banyan tree, but it's still the seed. So the spirit soul, he has his relationship. So under the grace of Krishna, he absorbs spiritual energy. And that in this way, Krishna awards the spiritual body to the awakening soul. And that's the idea of the Bhakti Lata Bead, blossoming. The devotee's soul, spirit, relationship, seed blossoms in the Chit Shakti under the grace of Krishna, which means under Yogamaya, under the Chit Shakti, under the spiritual energy. Right? Under my reaches eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. Right? Any questions on this? That's a subtle point. Do you follow what I'm saying? A seed in this material world absorbs energy to grow to the tree. So the seed-like spirit soul has bhakti in seed form, swarup in seed form, and it grows and develops the spiritual body under the supervision of the spiritual energy. So now Krishna, yes, Krishna in this verse says, though engaged in all activity, my devotee under my protection. This is leading to what? Sarvadharma prijita mamekam shar ma suchaha. Don't worry. You surrender to me and I will protect you from all problems in the material world. Just put your faith in me. Now, people sometimes say that to the wife or the children. I'll look after you, son. I'll look after you, missus. But they're fallible in this material world. But when the Supreme Lord, Parameshwara, says, don't worry, I'll protect you, we can, yes, I just believe in Krishna. What I will do is, as we said before, selfless devotion. I'll chant for the pleasure of Krishna. I'll offer foodstuffs. I'll go to Kirtan. I'll study the Gita for the pleasure of Krishna. 1 minute. Yes. Oh, sorry. Some pages must have jumped. Yes. In all activities, now this is Krishna under my protection, reaches the eternal, imperishable mode, Goloka or Harinam, under my protection. So next sloka, 57. In all activities, now this is because Arjuna is going to have to fight in the battle. Just depend upon me. Now we all have an occupation, a duty, friends, a house, relationships, a way of working in this material world. Krishna says, just depend upon me in all your material duties. Just depend upon me. And work always under my protection. He's emphasizing this again. My pure devotee under protection reaches the eternal abode. Now he's saying, work always under my protection. So repetition is necessary for understanding. Krishna's making it very clear to Arjuna because he's in anxiety. Oh, Krishna, this is all bad karma. What am I going to do? So Krishna is saying, don't worry. You just surrender to me and I will protect you. So this is very... and also that protection means spiritual protection, the growth of our bhakti lata, our devotion. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Aha. So how do you become fully conscious of me? So we know by chanting Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, by pure bhakti, we will attract Krishna and become conscious of him. But the next sloka, yes. And again, if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If you surrender, rely on my protection, and just do your work, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, but do that, but understand you're under my protection. And this conditioned life, you will cross over all the obstacles. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So that means that when we act on the bodily platform, we can't hear Krishna in the heart. Not hearing me. Where is Krishna? Yes, he's everywhere, but he's within the heart. And also on this point, very interesting, in the Hari Bhakti Vilas it is said that a properly initiated devotee has Shyam Sundar in the heart, but somebody in the material world has Paramatma in the heart. So the devotee initiation means that the bona fide spiritual master makes you enter the realm of Sham Sundar. So Sham Sundar is in the heart. So this point is there. If you act thinking I'm the doer, but if you then you'll be lost into the material energy. But if you act thinking I am the Supreme Lord servant, I'm serving him, then you will realize. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed by the Maya Shakti. By your nature, you will have to be engaged. So you will either act for me, Arjuna, or eventually, seeing the battle, you will be engaged in your material conditioned nature, personality. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction. I was going back to the first chapter where Arjuna was saying, I don't want to fight. But compelled by work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. So about 20 verses earlier, Krishna is explaining that. Just you have your conditioned life and you have your propensities. One person wants to be a musician, another businessman, another a doctor, so on. But do those propensities as an offering to Krishna. Perform them as an offering to Krishna. You don't have to change your personality and bodily conditioning, but do it as an offering to me. But you'll have to, if you don't do it as an offering to me, you're going to act in that way anyway, because that's your nature. Huh? You can be a musician for Krishna, or you can be a musician for yourself, but you'll act according to your propensities until you're fully liberated. But compelled by work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, because nobody can just sit under a tree for the rest of one's life. The Lord, yes. So this is the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated on a machine made of the material energy. Do you know that verse earlier? Matak smriti jnanam apohanam cha. What's the first line of that? Ishwara sarvabhutanam. Krishna explains, I give knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. That means I inspire people into their material activities, what they want to perform, and I also inspire people in the path of bhakti if they want to perform bhakti. And I'm situated in the heart. So sometimes, a footballer scores a goal and he looks up at the sky. Thank you, God, for letting me score a goal. But he can also look in his heart. Krishna is in the heart of all living beings. And that is in the Uddhava Gita. If you realize Krishna in the heart, that's the best way to realize Krishna. He's local. He's not distant over there. Who are seated on a machine made of the material energy. You're all experienced. This body is yantra rudra animaya. It's a vehicle, like a motor car is a body for the driver of the motor car. Surrender. Oh, yes, here it is. This is very important point. Surrender to him utterly. That means Krishna in the heart. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Same point is coming. So this is very important, that we must surrender to Krishna in the heart. Now we join a society, very good. But we should also think, it's mentioned in Bhakti Siddhanta wrote an essay section on this. Don't think that a society or some kind of material construction of bureaucracy or whatever will take you back to Godhead. You have to find Krishna in the heart. You understand? You have to realize Krishna directly. Some kind of management hierarchy cannot take you back to Godhead. It can give you good instructions, and it should give you good instructions. But ultimately, here Krishna is saying, realize me in your heart. I am local to you. Huh? So sometimes the materialists think intuition comes from the subconscious. I get ideas. Eureka. I got an idea for a musical composition, Beethoven. No, it's actually coming from Krishna. So a devotee lives a pure life of renunciation as described, but he's listening for Krishna in the heart. What do you, and so the devotee, sadhana bhakti, is learning how to reciprocate with Krishna directly. Do you see this point? To realize, because sometimes we have an idea. Oh, you didn't. I remember once I didn't turn off something in the kitchen and I went driving and I was in Gopinath Bazaar. And suddenly a thought came to me. You didn't turn off, I think it was some milk or some sabji in the kitchen. You didn't turn it off. It's going to, oh, that's right. I went back and there it was. The gas was still burning and the pot was there. So that was Krishna. You understand? So we have to learn to distinguish what is Krishna coming into our consciousness. We call it intuition or subconsciousness or whatever. But we should understand and pray to Krishna, make it clear to me. Now, I was once, many years ago, I was talking to another devotee. I said, how do you know the difference between your mental ideas that come and when Krishna, a super soul, is speaking to you? Do you see the point? Because Krishna is going to speak to you in your consciousness. Not necessarily speak, but he'll give you ideas. He'll give you inspiration. So how do you know it's not your contemplation? Because you are also a conscious being creating ideas and Krishna's ideas. So this devotee, he told me a very good thing. He says, look, scratch yourself on the arm. That's you, right? But then he said, now I'll scratch you on the arm. And that's not you, isn't it? You know that somebody's scratching your arm and that's different from when you scratch your arm, right? So he was making the point that there's two types of thoughts going on. There's our own thoughts, and then there is thoughts coming from Krishna. Do you understand? So we must learn to distinguish. We must learn to pick up what Krishna is trying to say. And there's that Upanishad verse that there's two birds in a tree. One is busy trying to enjoy the fruits of the tree. That's the individual soul, right? But there's another bird in the tree. That's the super soul. And that bird is waiting for that first bird who's trying to enjoy the tree to turn. That is Upanishad. You know that sloka. So that Krishna is waiting for us to turn to him and say, Krishna, you're in my heart. Now you inspire me. You give me some direction. And then you will sense that it's not your thoughts, but it's Krishna is giving you an idea. You will pick it up. Just in the same way, when I scratch my arm, I know it's me. When somebody scratches my arm, another person, I know that's external to me. So you will understand, this is Krishna's given me an idea. You understand? And so you should understand that doesn't, Krishna giving ideas to you is why he's in your heart. He wants to reciprocate with you. But we want to reciprocate with the material energy, enjoy the tree and the fruits of the tree. You understand? And we're ignoring that. So this is an important part. So, like it says in that Upanishad, that is waiting for that bird to turn to him. So we should do that. We can chant and then we can meditate. Krishna, give me some inspiration. I'm turning to you. I want to recognize your inspiration as different from my consciousness. And then Krishna will reciprocate. Krishna will. Because that's what we are here for. That's the purpose of our creation, to reciprocate with Krishna. Right? So, is that point clear? Yes.
Are you saying that all intuition is from Krishna?
Well, that would be a very broad thing to say. I didn't actually say that. But there's many, I was talking about Beethoven. He once wrote in his diary, or it was well known, that once he was having a morning walk and suddenly it's the his ninth symphony, the Pastoral Symphony. And suddenly he had a vision of a symphony with all the different movements. Usually there's 3 or 4 movements, and it was all there within his mind. So it came from him. And then there's also Nietzsche. You know the philosopher Nietzsche? He was known for that too. He would go into the forest on walks and he would meditate. He'd get inspiration. He'd get inspiration for his philosophical ideas. So your question is very interesting. Now, a purified devotee, his consciousness is more expanded than, say, a dull materialist, because he's attached to the material energies. His consciousness is not very lively. Uh, so a pure devotee or a purified devotee, he can see things more widely. He becomes intuitive. He becomes more perceptive. But his consciousness is melding. It's mixing. It's reciprocating with Krishna. So I would say, in my humble opinion, that yes, a purified devotee with developed consciousness, he can see things. This is the mystic power of a devotee, right? He can see the future of a person. He can understand things. But that perception, great perception of a great sage, a rishi, is different from when Krishna says. But Krishna will be involved also, because just like he's guiding this material body, he's also guiding our mind. So this is the point. This is something we have to so I'm not saying all intuition, but largely, yes. Because what are we? We're a tiny spirit soul in the material body. So we're getting ideas. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, right? We've just read that sloka. So Krishna is giving guidance. So I wouldn't go. You see, it depends on what you mean by intuition. You see my point?
So many layers to it.
Yes.
One of the reasons is that I was in the community, and we didn't experiment, especially with the women, to test your intuition to see if it's correct.
Ah.
And many times it was, but not 100%. And from what you're saying, what I was thinking too, it depends on our level of development.
Yes. And that development can be in your consciousness expansion, but your real development is being able to perceive the supersoul. So they have remote viewing, right, in America. And what they do is They don't say develop mystically your vision or consciousness, but they say become in touch with your subconscious. So that means the supersoul, right? Because everything is resting upon Krishna as pearls are strung upon a thread. So this is an important point, that ultimately everything is coming from Krishna, but we're thinking it's subconsciousness. So and usually those people, artists or mystics or yogis, they are very theistic. You understand? They believe that there's a higher power or a higher consciousness or the subconscious. They believe in some kind of mystical connection. But ultimately, it's super soul. It's that described there. So a devotee, he knows, I will perform bhakti, I'll live pure life, follow regulative, I'll do contemplation, and then I can get inspiration from Krishna. And I can go to Krishna to ask him, right? Like sometimes, um, I'll just talk my own personal experience. Sometimes I have a philosophical question and I put it towards Krishna. And then a minute later or right then, the penny drops. You understand? They call it in English eureka, a eureka moment. Krishna gives you the right understanding. You understand? And then you know, oh, that's what it means. And you feel very sure. And before you were, what does that mean? I'm not sure what that means in the Shastra. Krishna. And then Krishna can. I think all devotees have that inspiration, right? Because we're studying the Shastra. And what is it? It's a piece of white paper with black marks on. What is turning it into understanding? The Supersoul, right? Everything is resting upon the Supreme Lord, right? So in that sense, everything is resting upon Krishna, the fulfillment of it. But at the same time, we have our own consciousness to consider matters. And we're, like I say, we're learning to reciprocate with Krishna personally. And that's what's recommended in the Shastra, right? So, surrender to him utterly. By his grace, his inspiration, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. 93. Because you're my dear friend, I'm speaking to you my supreme instruction, most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me for your benefit. Always think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage to me. Then you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. We'll finish on that. that